calm, cool, collected. 2-0, bitches.
Oh, that was the whole video.
Yep.
I was getting a glass of water. Okay, Biz.
Well, Kirby,
A man of few words.
a man of two words. You know what?
Or few words.
Well,
we're here. We're in a bit of a hole. We haven't seen this in a while. Caesar down 2-0 here in the series.
we're definitely not used to this. Not since the Boston series 2 years ago.
Oh, I don't forget those days because Cody's not joining us here tonight. But
It's you
me
and
Cody
I,
were
Kirby.
doing those post-game shows when we were down 3-1 in that series, and what the expectations were of that team as an underdog team and things like that. So fans are asking us tonight, Caesar, but they asked me this after game one. Are we going to be okay?
I'm calm. I'm cool. I'm collective. This is a long series. I did say Florida in 6, but a lot of people doubted you and I, saying that this is not the same Toronto team.
Because they said they're playing us now, so it's going to be vastly different. And I'm like, it might be different, but I don't think it's going to be leaps and bounds different.
Right. And you got to give credit where credit is due.
I agree there, Ted. That's a big point right now.
Toronto right now, with their play, their style of play, their players are bought in. They're playing a different style. And I think the Florida Panthers were caught a little off guard, which I don't think they should have. They've slowly have been doing this during the regular season. They won the division for a reason. They're a much better team.
They're division winners. First time since 2000 or 2002, something wild like that. I don't count the North Division.
They look younger. They look faster. They're playing a lot better than we are. I thought today was our best game, and much better than game one, though.
You think our best game in the playoffs?
No. I think
because I would go back to game one against Tampa.
Yes.
Potentially
game one, maybe game two, because I thought shutting Tampa down there and shutting them out, keeping them outside of the zone, keeping the pucks out. I think the difference.
But Tampa made that easy for us with Kucherov. He didn't want to get to the inside. No. Matthew Knies wants to. William Nylander wants to.
Their secondary players.
Max Pacioretty's what? Is he almost 40 years old? He wants to get to the inside. So the Leafs are a lot hungrier and have a lot more fight in them than the Tampa Bay Lightning have. When have we ever said that?
It's been a while since I guess maybe since 1967.
Maybe the Matt Sundin days there, Caesar, but yeah. They're a hungry hockey team right now. And like you said this to me in our post-game show, thank you for joining me there, Caesar. Again, it's over on our Twitter X side. Teams, we're the hunted. We're the champions. Teams are going to give their best shot at us now. It's not like, well, we think Florida's the best team in the league. No, they know that now. And
they know that.
Have film on us and have been preparing for this for a long time. They've been preparing their whole regular seasons.
And you got to give credit to their GM getting the right pieces, getting the. Now I know Steven Lawrence isn't the biggest forward contributing to their team, but the culture in the room, they have that winning mentality, and I think that helps. And getting their coach in there, he's changed that whole culture around E2. So we got to give credit to them.
The guy at the deadline, Scott Lawton, right now, everyone was criticizing that acquisition. He's been looking really good in this series. Max Pacioretty, I don't know what coach outside of maybe Craig Berube or a handful of coaches in the NHL would have put him back in the lineup. That's paying off huge dividends. Panthers do that today with Mackie Samoskevich. He looked really good. I agree with some people in the chat there. Dmitry Kulikov has been atrocious, but you got to look at last year. He was our
best defenseman,
right? And this year he's now our worst. There's no consistency in his game right now.
And Mikko has been one of our best defensemen this year in general,
but not the playoffs.
But not in the playoffs. They both of them have not played well. Schmidt, I was not impressed with his game today, and I thought that he was consistent
But everyone's expecting from Nate Schmidt in the Tampa Bay series, you're not going to get that, right? That's a one-off, right? You're not going to get that to roll over. You simply are not. So to expect 3 goals and lockdown defense and mistake-free hockey, you're not going to get that from Schmidt. So I'm going to get more on like the middle pairing guys and some of the bottom pairing guys. By the way, Juvis Belinkas cost us game 1. Sportsnet released the video. I don't know if you're seeing the ice the rest of the series after you do something.
Let's kind of go break down that play a little bit, Kirby. I'm gonna put it up here. That was Nick was very adamant about that play.
Yeah, he was.
And how that cost us the game.
He didn't know how because he couldn't show me film on it, but Sportsnet showed it tonight. And I don't know if our media asked Paul Maurice on it because I never saw any quotes out there. Are they going to ask about this tomorrow? Because we're talking about it and it was from game 1. Paul Maurice might ask, why didn't you guys ask us that after game 1? But that's a crucial play that cost you the game. When you make a line change like that, no one was injured. No one got off the ice on the wrong part of the bench. We already had Schmidt jump over. He makes a bad pinch, bad read, gets beat. And then there's no one back there, and Matthew Knies ends up scoring the game winner in game 1. People are going to be upset about Bob allowing the goal in game 2. You can be if you want. Go back and look at one in game 1.
A lot of people are blaming Bob, but
yeah, I'm not.
Dude,
not
these breakdowns. Yeah, I understand people are looking for Bob of last year where he made unbelievable saves, but how many times do we have to rely on Bob
for him to bail out our team?
When is it going to be our top 2 lines? When is the accountability?
Our top pairing or all of our forwards?
When are we going to hold Matthew Tkachuk accountable? When are we going to have hold Sam Reinhart accountable, Verhaeghe accountable?
I think people are holding Verhaeghe accountable.
Yeah, but actually, he's been one of our best players, even though he hasn't scored. He had a great hit today.
A big hit on Tanev, just like he did in the series against Tampa Trek. But everyone's like, we're not paying him $7 million to do that. I understand. By the way, that contract kicks in next year. But do we buy into, and we've talked about this here in our post-game show, do we buy into anything that, he was asked to waive his no-trade clause for Mikko Rantanen, who, by the way, is going off again here tonight. Is there something there with Verhaeghe's psyche? Potentially. Is there something else at play there? Potentially.
Right.
So, again, I don't know if you want to share this completely, but this is the shot I got tonight. It's the best that I could do from Sportsnet there. I don't know if there was any tweets out there on it, but yeah, you see a line change, and then you don't see a guy come over the boards, and then Matthew Knies is all in alone there.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and play this real quick. So look, here's Kulikov on the bottom here. And there's, I believe, Mikkola.
Okay.
So let's play it real quick.
And you see all the numbers there listed on the guys. You see the guy go for the line change. You're going to see another guy go for the line change as well.
Kulikov goes out. His guy comes out.
Yeah, but right? The guy going there now. Which
so right here, number 5, that is Mikkola. So Mikkola's guy, which is Belinkas, was supposed to go out.
You see the other guy jump up into the play here, and then you don't see a guy come over, and they changed at the part of the bench where there is a defenseman going off for a defenseman.
So Schmidt's on the ice, and here I think everything's okay. But right here, when Schmidt pinches into...
There's no one there.
There's nobody there. There's nobody there. I think if Schmidt stays back, the play's okay.
And I don't even think the broadcast caught this, whether on ESPN, TNT, Sportsnet. Sportsnet showed this tonight coming into the pregame show. So again, I get where Nick's coming from there. Nick just didn't have visuals and say whose fault it was, because I was trying to understand because I didn't have any visuals on it. And none of our fans, of course, were at the rink. It's in Toronto.
Like I was saying, if Reinhart gets called for this tripping, that play doesn't happen either.
Yeah, it could get a call there. Yeah, obviously. But again, it wasn't called, so you have to play through the whistle. No penalty on the play, and then you see that. So again, that costs us. I'm not going to be with the fan base that says that Marner goal cost us the game and Bob's got to make a save. How about all the other plays, the breakdowns? Pacioretty goal, Forsling. We can take that off now. See, Forsling goal. Sorry, the Pacioretty goal. Forsling loses a battle, loses a puck battle, doesn't go to the net with Pacioretty. He scores. The Domi play. Kachuk turns the puck over. Nice play by OEL to get a stick in the lane. And then you see the defenseman kind of all congested at the neutral zone. I think Mikkola was a part of that. And then you get a 2-on-1 going back. Bennett doesn't locate perfectly there. Kachuk's not skating. You have multiple errors on that goal there. Where
Antonio,
Toronto
I understand you're upset at the goaltenders or at Bob here, but if Knight was in here, we wouldn't have Seth Jones, and Seth Jones has been one of our best defensemen. So who knows if we're even in this playoffs position? We might not even make the playoffs with the Ekblad suspension. Who are you going to put back there in defense the last couple of weeks? So, I mean, I don't agree.
Well, I don't know in that situation. Again, conspiracy theorists, did they make that trade for Jones in that point because they knew something was going to happen with Ekblad? I don't know. I would have thought of that anyways because of Ekblad's injury past in history. Like, I can't even add Ekblad into the good because he hasn't been reliable. We've had him missing more games than games he's played in. So I'm not putting him in the plus category. Forsling's got to be better. Who's been our best defenseman? Seth Jones, probably.
Seth Jones, yeah.
So,
Seth Jones.
like our new guy. Like you're not going to win too much playoff series.
For Ekblad missing a couple more games, I thought he looked pretty good today.
Yeah, but I'm not giving him allowance. He's got to make up for all the games that he missed. I'm not putting him at the top. He's been okay or decent, but what, 2 games? The one game he was an absolute disaster was maybe a little bit more his partner Forsling, but still he wasn't good in that game either. So again, I don't know. Like he looked okay out there tonight and things like that, but Jones was creating a lot again from the back end and things like that. And again, I want to say off the top here, you guys didn't hear this on the post-game show. I think this was a highly competitive hockey game. You don't always see this in second rounds of playoff series, third rounds, because even like let's say second rounds, because you see like upset teams make it through, like the Seattles, the Columbus Blue Jackets with Bobrovsky, and they just get handled by a far superior hockey team.
Right. So this looked more like
battling each other right now.
This looked more like an Eastern Conference Finals or
I would say
Cup Finals, right?
I go conference final. Late round, second round. Like this is playoff hockey right now, and some fans are concerned. I think Toronto out hit the Panthers tonight, which again, if we're trying to wear teams down, we have to do that early in series, Caesar. So then we can get to that later on in series and wear teams down. But right now, Toronto's laying the lumber on us just as much as they're, and they're getting to the front of the net, and we're not doing a great job there either.
So here's a question. Also on the Knight trade for Jones, could Jones have been traded without trading Knight, considering the Blackhawks wanted to move him and there didn't seem to be a bidding war?
I'll take this from Indade. I don't want to get into all this whole Jones and Knight stuff, but the questions are here, so I'll answer it. I don't think Knight's stock was there to be able to go acquire a guy like Seth Jones from where he was in the summer in the players' assistance program. I think what the Panthers did, because again, look at it this way. If we could have got something for Knight, then why wouldn't we have moved him after winning the Stanley Cup and kept Monter or Stenlin or something? Why wouldn't we have done something like that? So what they did was they built up his stock so that they're able to acquire a guy like Seth Jones. Seth Jones is not an albatross like everyone seems to believe. His contract might be, and obviously had been, but then there's some retention on that, and that's where the Panthers bring him in as a $7.5 million defenseman. That's what he's playing like. Okay, I don't care what anyone says. Look at how much minutes he's playing. There's no way you can tell me he's not a $6 to $7 million defenseman by how much he's playing in the playoffs and the level of play that he's brought us here. So again, I don't know if that trade happens in the summer, Caesar, is my point.
So good point here by Derek, I think. I don't know if you agree.
Again, Knight's making $4.5 million in Dave. Did people want to sign for that when they didn't know if he was going to play hockey?
Right. Yeah. It's super simple. Bob needs to save at least 900, and the defense needs to be less aggressive in the pinch. Panthers need to hit hard and slow the game down. Keep everything in front of you.
So we had Derek on our post-game show, and I he makes his statements. Whether I agree with him or not, he explains it through logic and through numbers and through what he's seen in the game. I agree with that to a point. But if we're going to stop pinching and that's not what Derek's saying, to stop pinching, but if we really go back from that style of hockey, of having that defenseman pinch down the wall and be aggressive, we're no longer playing Panther-style hockey, Paul Maurice-style hockey, and we're going to be on our feet a little bit more. And now that speed game is going to be even more of a problem for us because we're not going to have the puck. So if we're not pinching to keep plays alive and winning those board battles, then the other team is going to be playing with the puck a lot more than we did. And remember tonight, we were spending more time in the least offensive zone. So you still have to play that aggressive style. But I do get what Derek's saying there.
From Gooncho here. Hello from the Leafs fan. I thought Florida played well enough to win tonight. Bob may have let a few too many, but that happens. Best of luck in the series. We all see you in Florida. Yeah, it was a much better game. I thought both teams played well, and like you said, this is going to be a hard fought series, and it could be 1 or 2 goals here and there. They could
Now, when he said few goals by Bob, I'm not saying tonight, but in this series, sure, 2, 3, 4 goals, yeah, maybe should have. And now Bob has to kind of eliminate that going into game 3 and game 4 and give an AA plus effort. Do I doubt Bob? No, because a lot of the fans, I get all the calls after the game and people are emotional and they regret some of the stuff they do say, in the heat of the battle and everything like that. But I've had so many callers say like Bob's done. He's showing his age. Do we have to move on from him? Is it Spencer's net now? Is it Alex Lyon's net now? Is it Anthony Stolar's net now? So again, I've been here. I'm going to, Caesar, I'm not joking with you, 60 to 80 times.
Wow.
So I'm just like, at least. So I'm not concerned in the least. And I think our fans have been spoiled by the all-star Hall of Fame level goaltending that we have got from Sergei Bobrovsky. Remember back to the President's Trophy year? If Bobrovsky doesn't give us that series, I don't even know if we get out of that first round.
I know people forget what Bob has done for us in the past, and it's like sometimes you got to help your own players out too. Like every year, every playoffs is different.
Yep.
You can't
and
expect
it's different
Bob
with the goalie every year as well too. It doesn't
right?
just carry over every year. We've been fortunate that Bob's done it for 3 straight playoffs. If this is one of his playoffs, and again, I don't think this playoff goes back to the first Tampa Bay series. I get the years mixed up, 2020, 2021, whatever. I don't think it's as bad as when he first came to Florida. No. But again, you might not get 2023 Bob here, and that's fine. You got to have the rest of your team step up and play well, So again, and he's got to be better. Game 1, that's a D grade, a D minus grade. But tonight, I'm not giving him a D grade. If you want to give him a C minus, a C, B minus, B, all whatever you want to give him. But if you're thinking that's a D or F performance tonight, I don't know what game you're watching.
Right. Here's a good comment here. Cats lost a ton of their sandpaper players in the off season. You can see it hurt them. Stenlin, that's a big loss that you and I have been advocate of this team. I know that they tried to pick up Stern here late in the offs and before the trade deadline, but a lot of people forget what Stenlin's done for us. Winning face-off draws, just
all those 5-on-5 minutes,
5-on-5s. That fourth
penalty kill too, just like
the
Stern.
center, dude. He was so incredible.
He was one of the reasons why we became the best penalty kill team. Him and Luosterainen last year, and those two are the best on the penalty kill. In my mind.
Pacioretty goal. If I'll go back and I'll show you because I don't want to get thrown live off here like we did last time. But if you go back and I'll kind of. You guys can go back on it and yourselves. Yep. If you look at Sturm literally has him right in front, and he literally drifts off to the right and gives him that open lane to shoot the puck. Like, I understand we're not a shot blocking team, but this is the playoffs. You can't give him that open look. You have to give him the outside shots, right?
And there was points tonight where Seth Jones had the puck, Caesar. Yeah. And he didn't shoot it on net because there was no shooting lane there to be had.
There's no shooting lane.
Because Toronto's clogging those lanes.
Because they're clogging those lanes. And I thought Stern had an opportunity to clog the lanes. He literally drifted to the right, gave a wide open opportunity to shoot in front of the net. And of course, Forsling guy, he's not there to move away the Pacioretty and give him an open pass there for an easy tip in.
Now, to get to that question, too, as well, we didn't add other names. I know Ryan Lomberg wasn't a big part of the team last year, but kind of that identity.
That grit, the speed of Lomberg. I mean, and we kind of saw it a little bit with Samoskevich, but it was a little bit too late putting him on that second line. Like,
you take Samoskevich out of the lineup and you don't have that speed factor there. And then also from the back end, when you guys are talking about activating and pinching in, we don't have Brandon Montour or OEL anymore. They are better than any of the guys that we have here. And OEL bought into the system perfectly where he added some sandpaper and grit to his game. Brandon Montour did that under Paul Maurice. He was never going to do it under Andrew Burnett because he never gave him the opportunity. Yeah. But those are the guys that stepped up. When you're going to say, well, we need to depend on the likes of Schmidt and Belinkus, you're not getting that far. Like if you're depending on that and you're depending on Kulikov to replicate what he brought you last year, you're not getting far. It has to come from Mikkola, Forsling, Ekblad. And that collective group hasn't been good enough.
So here's another question. Putting grit players back on the ice, do we really believe Gadjevich would be worse than Boquist or Greer or worse than Rodriguez?
Good question. I don't think Gadjevich would be as worse as Boquist, but he would give you maybe about the same. Maybe he would, create a goal off of a forecheck, potentially off of a screen deflection. I don't think it's going to create marketable difference. Erod for Greer, some people are calling for Erod to be benched now. Like that starts to happen now. I think you're seeing the end of Erod in Florida with how much he's making on his contract. I believe $3 million. So again, I don't know if you take him out of the lineup. I like him down there on the fourth, but I don't think Greer coming in adds more than Erod because he doesn't play as many minutes as Erod does, and he can't play up the lineup. Erod, you can move around the lineup, and Mackey, you can play up and down the lineup, Caesar, and you can play him on the power play. So it's more important to keep Mackey and Erod in the lineup than try to filter in guys that are really one-dimensional.
Exactly. And another question here from Derek. Tkachuk looks hurt. Dude looks like a shell of himself. Worried that this was the case before the season ended.
Derek wants a bell here because he's been on this from Four Nations recovery to now. So again, I don't think he looks great out there. You see at the bottom of the screen, I had Matthew Tkachuk #1 in this series, and I added a little caveat. I hope he's healthy. Cody and Nick didn't say anything because they're like, well, yeah, we figure he's kind of healthy or whatever. But if he's playing like this, he's going to be nowhere near all of those names that you see on the bottom of the screen there that have contributed in some form or fashion, and some have been the stars of this series. Matthew Tkachuk has not been in that group with those names.
Didn't I tell you, Kirby, that I was more worried about Tkachuk's game coming into the playoffs than I was about Ekblad's?
You did, Caesar, but again, I'll share Nick's and some others down there at the bottom. You did, but again, like Matthew Tkachuk is a winger, so he can work his way back into the series in the game. He's not playing from your center position or defense position. I don't think Ekblad's been great. He's barely been in the lineup, Caesar. He's got a 2-game suspension. So I don't think we can grade that Ekblad's been far better than Tkachuk. We're not getting enough from either one. We get the moment from Ekblad to win us the Tampa Bay series, and then he's like, peace out, see you later. And then you get Tkachuk showing up in game 1. But that's not enough from those guys. We're paying those guys $7 million plus. Those guys are cornerstone players of this franchise. Even Ekblad to where he is right now and how they've played him. Now, if you want to sign him to a contract, that might be discussion for another day here. But I think those guys have to be able to bring it more. We haven't been able to evaluate Ekblad enough on the health factor. We have a little bit now on Tkachuk, but again, are fans going to make excuses, Caesar, on Matthew Tkachuk being injured? Adam Fox was hurt last year in the conference final against us.
I'm not making an excuse.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Leon Draisaitl was hurt in the Stanley Cup final. His wrist was banged up. He was messed up. Right now, Austin Matthews, I'll tell you for a fact, is not 100%.
Oh, you
Has
can
he
tell.
been the best player on the Leafs? No.
No.
Have they needed him to be? No.
No, but he's not making those turnovers, and that's the key. Like
but other guys are stepping up. Nyes and Nylander are like, hey, Matthews, you aren't there. I'm going to step up for it. And that's where you get the Barkovs, the Reinhardts, the Verhaeghes. Those type of guys, they got to add a little bit more of a punch because the third line's doing it. But that second line, we've got nothing going there. And Paul Maurice is searching. He started Erod there. Now we're going to Mackey. Like, what's next, right?
Okay, where the series worries me is the fact that Matthew hasn't scored at all this series. If he starts finding the back of the net game 3 on, this is going to be scary. But he's got to show up. I think he's got to stop turning the puck over, start winning board battles, getting in front of the net. If he's injured, if he's not healthy,
well, that's his back. That's why we might not be in front of the net.
I mean,
he's not going to put his back to Bob and then take a cross check or take a bump if his back's all messed up, right? He's had chances and he hasn't capitalized, but where have we seen that before with Austin Matthews? In the playoffs.
But I'm talking about Tkachuk.
Okay, I thought you were talking.
Okay. Oh, so the question was about Matthews, but yeah.
Matthews, Caesar. It said
Yeah,
Matthew.
my bad.
Caesar. Let me cook
That's
here.
they're
Like,
both
okay,
Matthews.
like
They're
I'm like
both
not gonna make
Matthews.
me fake. So again, like I think Austin Matthews is dealing with an injury just like Matthew Tkachuk
Yeah.
is. And why
Yeah.
did Austin Matthews go to Germany to go get treatment? Like, I don't think the guy's healthy. And if it's your back, that's a chronic situation.
Yeah. But yeah, no, you make a great point. Once he starts finding the back of the net, like their top line besides Marneau tonight has not been scoring. They're using their secondary scoring, and Matthew Nyes has been so great.
Yes, and William Nylander.
yeah.
William Nylander is the star of this series.
Whew.
If we're saying Brad Marchand is the series MVP last series versus
Nylander
Tampa,
is for
Nylander is right
Yeah.
now in this series. And Nylander is not only doing what he's doing against us, he's leading the NHL in playoff scoring right now. I think Rantanen might be up there with him too. With
Hey, let's give credit to Pacioretty. You know,
yes,
he's laying the body out there. He's
That's
getting
5 hits after the first
5
period.
hits. He's leading the playoffs in hits, I think. So that goes to
Is
show
he?
you that. Yeah, they said that on ESPN. Which
Well,
is
I think that would
crazy.
be per game. I think Caesar that would be per game because he hasn't played in a
Right, per game. So
might be per game.
but still, that's pretty good for him. This is he's definitely showing up, and I think putting him in the lineup on the last game against Ottawa, that's giving them a boost, giving this team a boost here too.
Yeah. Antonio's got a question. Caesar Kirby, would you give Nyes 9/6? Yeah, if the Toronto media is saying that Bennett's getting $9 million, I'm giving Nyes 8.5, 9 easily. Nyes is like a young player. He's not even in his prime right now. This guy's a future 80, 85 point guy if he's going like this. Remember, Sam Bennett's career high is right around 50.
Lawton has been really good and effective this series too. So great point, Brandon.
Yeah, and their depth guys, I think our fans are surprised how good.
You and I haven't been surprised.
No, but to the degree of Pacioretty and what Lawton's bringing, I think that's even more. Lawrence, I expected kind of a good game out of him eventually, and he did tonight in game 2. He wasn't that noticeable in game 1, but he was playing like that against Ottawa, and he's played like that all year. So, again, like this doesn't surprise me. Chris Tanev, really good game. We're starting to lay the body on Tanev. That's important because the guy, he does have injury track record. He's got a lot of miles on his body. So you want to lay the hits on him like you would with a Victor Hedman at the stage of his career where he's at right now. But Chris Tanev was, I thought, excellent for the Leafs tonight.
Yeah.
Again, I thought this was a really well-played game. Like, there's slim margins there. Like, we did not get run out of the building. Like, the Panthers brought pretty well, at times an A-level game. It's just the mistakes and different things like that in the neutral zone and bad pinches like Derek mentioned and others mentioned. And you might want 1 or 2 saves back from Bob. But again, you can't blame one Panther on this game. Their stars have been better than our stars, and now their depth has been a bit better than our depth. All we're getting carried by right now is our third line. That's pretty concerning. We need more than that.
Okay, so another one by Derek. Think about this. When was the last time we saw a massive hit turn of the momentum for Florida? Time to make our third line play the second line, and then vice versa. That makes the second line the third line.
That's a fair statement. I'm trying to think back when we made a game-changing hit. Now, Carter Verhaeghe did that tonight against Chris Campbell. He also did that against Eric Chernak. Those can be a little series momentum changes, but off of a hit and then a goal, and I have to think that goes back to like last year's playoffs. Maybe in the Stanley Cup, that was it the Evan Rodriguez goal against Edmonton off of the forecheck, maybe something like there, Derek. But you kind of put me on the spot on that one off the top of my mind. But again, we haven't been like A+ on our forecheck. We still have another level and another gear to us here. And it's kind of unfortunate that we didn't see it on the road against Toronto, where we were like dictating our style of game to them, where we got to see what they're about. We didn't get to show them that here on the road against Toronto.
So let's kind of listen to what Brad Marchand, who's been I think one of our best players with Anton Lundell and Lucy.
Marchand, see a tight one out there tonight. Where do you guys feel like you made strides, and where do you feel like you still need to get better moving forward in this series?
Their biggest threat is they're very good on the rush. So I mean, you got to be above them. It seemed like every time we gave them the opportunity to get above us, they created something or capitalized on it. It just shows how dangerous they are. It doesn't take much for them to score. So we just have to make sure that we're pretty much perfect out there on our defensive coverage.
Brad, do you see a different challenge from the Leafs than you faced in the past in these playoffs?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're continuing to get better and grow as a group. They brought a lot of good pieces in at the deadline to, in the off season to kind of address their back end. They're heavy back there, and obviously their coaching has changed, and their structure is very, very good right now, especially in the D zone. They don't give up a whole lot around the net. So, yeah, they're we knew it was going to be a really tough battle. We didn't expect to roll over them by any means. So, we have our work cut out. They're playing really well, and obviously their top guys are capitalizing on every opportunity, it seems like.
So that's another thing that we haven't talked about. Their defense is a lot better than it has been last year, and in a long time.
Oh, I talked about that, Caesar.
I know you have.
Right, like the improved decor by personnel, and then also by scheme and system and how Craig Berube wants to play. Like a big play for me with the Leafs was in Game 1, things were going well for Toronto. Obviously, Matthew Nice. It might have been 2-1, 3-1, whatever it was. Matthew Nice had a chance for a 3-on-2, and what he did is instead, I'm going to try to make a play at the end of my shift. No, I'm just going to dump it in and go for a change because I don't want to give Florida any little sliver of mistakes where they can capitalize on, because they live and breathe off of other teams making mistakes off of their reads from blue to blue. So I've seen a big maturity in the Leafs here, and Matthew Nice is one of the forefront players there because Craig Berube trusts him, and he's like Craig Berube's number one guy. We said in Paul Maurice's 2023 season when he started with the Panthers, his three guys were Matthew Tkachuk, Brandon Montour, and Eetu Luostarinen. That's what Craig Berube is now finding. Like, who are my guys, and who are the guys I can lean on in tight situations, clutch situations, tough situations, and are going to pull us through those situations. So you're starting to see that now with the Leafs. Who are Craig Berube guys? Get those other guys out of here. Those guys anymore. That's what they did. That's what Bill Zito did. Whether you
Carlo, OEL,
Huberdeau, Weegar, Duclair, get these guys out of here. These are not the guys that we need to go. And people say, well, Duclair played good under Paul Maurice. Yeah. Well, you would too if you're going into a playoff series and be like, sitting, being demoted, and then you get a chance to play in the lineup. That's temporary. But guys that are supposed to be here now are here. Some of the guys that aren't here, that's due to cap situations. That's due to being a Stanley Cup champion. You lose good players after you become a Stanley Cup champion team. Go back and look at the Chicago Blackhawks, Brian Campbell, Dustin Byfuglien, numerous guys that had to leave Chicago after they won the Stanley Cups, right? So that's what kind of happened with us. And again, I don't think you're missing guys, right? On your roster, you're missing dogs like we talked about. But these guys that are here, they're good enough to pull through this and be a little bit better in this series. Are we going to come out and win? I can't say that for a fact. We're down 2-0. This is now becoming a must-win game. I don't think Game 2 was. But Game 3 becomes that on home ice. You got to protect home ice and force it back to Toronto tied 2-2.
Right. I mean, this is
got there.
Yeah.
But maybe fans are going to start to listen to, these comments now because they're hearing them from the players. Hey, I've been saying it all year about Toronto and Carolina. But people kind of want to think, hey, we're the 2023 Panthers, 2024 Panthers. I'm not concerned about those teams. It's a new season, Caesar. And like you mentioned, every playoffs is anew. So I think this is kind of a shot of reality into our fan base that weren't giving the Leafs crap. Not saying all of you, but the ones that weren't. I think this is a bit of a shot of reality here tonight.
It is. And here's a little quick stat here I want to pull up here. It's kind of interesting. Kirby, Leafs are 11-0 all time in the best of 7 series wins when taking a 2-0 lead at home.
Yeah, blame me for that. Again, that's Sportsnet trying to drive up all the Toronto clicks there. So I just saw that before I came to air, and I thought it was interesting to share.
This is where all the Florida Panthers are going to fall off the cliff. Other fans here, not me. I'm in it till the end.
Don't let the Toronto media do that to you. I grew up in the Toronto media my whole life, so don't let them do that to you, right?
Yeah.
But they should feel good about themselves. But if they think this series is over, I think they're sadly mistaken. I'll be quite shocked and surprised if the Leafs just, dictate the pace and game from here on out. They got to go on the road now. But the Panthers have to start well in these games. I think they started a lot better tonight, really good. But they have to continue to do that. Their third period has been the Panthers' best period and Bobrovsky's best period. So Bob, the whole team collectively, they've got to come out there in the first period and win that period. You got to win periods now We're not talking about can we even this series or can we win the
No.
series. You
It's
now
gotta
have
be
to break it down period
one
by
period at a time. One period at a time.
Yeah.
One shift at a time. 1 minute at a time. All that is out the window. All that let's win two. No, it's one period. We've done it before against Boston 2 years ago. This Paul Maurice has an ability of changing up his coaching style. Now, I truly believe he's been outcoached here these last 2 games. Now, can he turn it around? It's yet to be seen. So, I have faith
Again,
in
going up against a coach that won a Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues, everyone.
yeah.
Like the Toronto Maple Leafs didn't pull this dude off the streets. Like the Cleveland Browns general manager was told by, I think, a homeless guy, draft Johnny Manziel. Like they didn't pull Craig Berube off the streets here. This was a great hire, and I said it from the start. And you shouldn't be surprised by this.
And this
But-
is the 3rd year the Florida Panthers are playing in this deep of a run. So, I mean, and I'm not trying to make excuses for Florida, but a lot of these players have been there for a lot of the play. So it's very hard to go to a Stanley Cup Finals 3 years in a row.
Caesar, can we go back to that question because I don't think we answered it. I know you're doing a lot here.
Yes.
Just if you scroll up there. So yeah, if you want to answer that because he's asking you. Go ahead.
About this series, the turnovers. I think the turnovers, the lack of our second line being effective out there. You know, I think if we create less odd man rushes, we stick to our game. I love our penalty kill. Our penalty kill this playoffs has been really, really good. But please stay out of the damn box, Kulikov. I mean, those are momentum.
We could have got out of
killers.
that first period with no goals and a couple penalty kills. Instead, we take a third penalty.
Because we were playing really well the first 10 minutes of that game. But those stupid penalties.
That first kill by Dmitry Kulikov, that was an excellent penalty kill, I believe, if I remember correctly here. We killed the puck 2, 3, 4 times on Toronto there.
Right?
But if you give them more and more, they're going to get more opportunities.
And they're going to eventually capitalize.
Yeah,
and,
they're a good hockey team. And they're very skilled, especially when it comes to power play. That comment there, I just want to say, going back to the Boston series a couple years ago, our second line dragged us into that series in game 2 when Sam Bennett was reinserted into the lineup. Bennett, Cousins, and Tkachuk, I believe it was actually Verhaeghe, I think. That second line was driving play for us in that Boston series when we were struggling to find our game. If we don't get that from Matthew Tkachuk in the second line, then this series, it'll be in peril, and it's going to be very hard to come back on Toronto here if we don't get more second line production. Things I'm worried about, neutral zone play, lack of communication, that Blinkus goal, like things like that can't happen. You could take a penalty here or there and kill it, but we can't have communication errors. And like Toronto's not the one making those mistakes. We are.
No, we are.
That's curtains.
Now, could it be? And I kind of blame Ekblad because the lack of him being available during the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it throws things out of whack.
It throws things a lot.
So you're playing with different partners back there.
You allow Kulikov in the regular season to do something stupid and hurt himself. So then that's another guy that's injured. So
the defense hasn't helped us out, everyone. If you guys are looking at people to point fingers at, point at the defensemen and individuals on that blue line. Yeah. Like they've cost us on and off the ice.
Exactly. So if anybody's got to step up, it's our defensive pairings. They gotta.
And this is why I got on the defense all year for this time of the year. I'm like, it's not good enough. Upgrade the defense. They did with Seth Jones. Thankfully, I love that move. But if we didn't have that move, Caesar, could you imagine? Our fans thought we were Stanley Cup caliber defense without Seth Jones.
They thought it was better than. They thought our defensive pairings might have been better than last year.
I'm like, that's right. I don't know what we're doing here, people. But yeah.
No, great question, great point there, Brandon. That is a very big concern. Today, I think we're only 37.
The Leafs are 72%, I think. But the Leafs are number 1 in the NHL in the playoffs in the faceoff dot, and they were pretty good in the regular season too. I want to say Tuna might have this top 5, top 8. So they're a good team in the face-off circle.
And that's what I've noticed too. Their face-off, it's, getting the play, dumping it off the other zone, not allowing Florida to stay in the offensive zone and keep the puck in the zone. And then we saw how important face-offs are. that goal by Barkov in the power play wins the faceoff, gives it to the point to Reinhart. Reinhart passes it back and a clean shot right there. So yeah, that's a great point. Faceoffs is a concern, but I don't think we'll outpass Toronto. I think
Yeah, we got to just be better. We got to be between the margins of 55-45, not 65-35 or 70-30. We can't.
Correct. And that's something, we got Nico Stern for, right?
Yes.
Because
top 7 in the NHL coming to the Panthers.
He's been way far less than that. I think the last game he was 0 for 8. That's unacceptable.
And if people say faceoffs don't matter, go look at the Alexander Barkov goal. He wins the faceoff and scores the goal. Yep. I think he was on the draw. If I'm wrong, people could correct me. But like faceoffs matter at this time of year. Look at off the center ice draws. How many goals have happened in these playoffs? Off the faceoff from center ice. The Edmonton Oilers and stuff. Like
it's a big part.
It's how you start with possession of the puck, winning the draw.
Which is one of the reasons why I said Stenlund was a big part of our face-off dot last year. And
off the penalty kill.
Winning
the draw.
Winning the draws and, just key moments like that. So
this year we've been driven by Reinhart's excellent performance on shorthanded game and Barkov like creating goals. Luosterainen even scoring shorthanded goals. We led the league, or we're second in the league in shorthanded goals. Last year, it was just locked down. Let's kill these guys. Let's suffocate any space and time they have. Have we done it this year? Yeah, we've done it times. But last year, it wasn't about trying to get offensive chances off of the penalty kills. Just shut down their play and let's take momentum back so the momentum swings back in our favor. When we're taking penalty after penalty here, and some of these, our penalty kill percentage is going to drop if we keep taking penalties this year. I don't think it can be to the level that it was last year of like just giving teams 5 power plays and expecting to kill it off here. I don't see that continuing. I just don't.
No, and just want to say real quick, thank you, chat, for joining us tonight. We got really good numbers here. Don't forget to like on the video and subscribe. We really appreciate you guys. We keep it 100 here. We give credit when it's due, and we got to give Toronto a lot of credit. They're a lot better team than we are right now, and they've showed it. We came out a lot better today, and we go back to Florida. I think if we get these 2 games here in Florida, we have a whole new series. Don't fall off the edge just yet, guys.
There's a comment from I hope I'm not mispronouncing his name, Zavrik, and he said, "How crazy is it that Marner and Matthews haven't been 100%?" Well, I explained the part about Matthews. I think it has to do with health. I really do. But also, these guys have wilted in playoff pressure situations, and like when their teammates are looking at them for a goal. They haven't always stepped up in these moments, but when you have Nyes and Nylander and now the supporting cast that the Leafs are getting, it makes those guys breathe and relax a lot more. That's what we need to have from us. But again, it can't all come, Caesar, from our third line. We got to get a 4th line goal. We saw it in the Tampa Bay series, goals from the defense. But I think at the end of the day, if you're looking at us, it's got to come from our top 6 production. And I'm going to look at the second line. What has the second line produced 5-on-5? Matthew Tkachuk, he has points. If you want to look at points, so be it. A lot of those have been on the power play, okay? It's not driving play 5-on-5. We need our second line to be a lot better and to
keeping the puck in the zone. Keeping the puck in the zone, winning the board battles. I mean, I'm not even seeing Tkachuk winning any of those.
That from the second line.
No.
What Bennett's doing is he's getting the puck from the corner and walking out. Like when he hit Stolarz, he did that again tonight, and he stopped short of hitting Wall. But those aren't plays I'm talking about. And the Bennett one against Stolarz, I believe Bennett said he was on the power play, so that's not even on the second line. So, like, when you're driving the net from positions, like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about second, third chances, rebound opportunities, like overwhelming the opposition. And we haven't seen that from the second line in these playoffs.
And great quote here from Ian here. Good game, long series still to go. But I'm pumped that Toronto is finally playing playoff style hockey. We are different this year. It should be fun the rest of the way, fellas. Cheers.
Oh, yeah, I can see that from a Leafs perspective. Why wouldn't you be smiling right now, right? And hey, if and I learned this as a Panther fan. Again, I'm a life for Panther fan. You think we got credit when we were horseshit, when we were garbage? Hell no. So if Leaf fans right now feel like they're not getting respect or credit, well, then you just take it from the other teams and you earn that respect over time. You have to earn it at this time of the year, and that's what the Maple Leafs have yet to do. But now they're trying to learn that. They're halfway there, but this shouldn't be their end goal of what they did against Florida. And if they come up short, that's good enough. No, championship level teams and championship level mindset is like, you got to keep pushing forward, business as usual. And that's the thing that Craig Berube has changed in that locker room. They're not dancing around at practices anymore or saying certain cheeky things in the media after a big win. Like, it's a whole different mindset. And we saw that with Paul Maurice, and we saw that with the Panthers and where we're at now. So we're a championship mindset. Let's regroup here. Let's refresh and go back home and try to take a game or two at home. Right now, Washington and Winnipeg, they're getting disrespected from the national media. They can look at, hey, we're the best teams in the regular season this year. But it matters what you do at this time of the year.
It's what you've done for me now, not what you've done for me in this regular season. I asked myself if Four Nations Cup will not lose Cats another cup. Matthew isn't himself. Also, Bob isn't that sharp. But Bob had a rest. Bob wasn't playing in Four Nations.
He had a rest in coming into this series.
Yeah. So I'm not sitting there blaming Four Nations. You could blame Four Nations for Matthew Tkachuk's injury, but if you're injured, that's fine, but you're out there playing.
So that means you're hurt. If you're injured,
you're hurt. So you to me, it's not even that. It's just the stupid turnovers like that he's making, and he's not creating plays, and he's just not playing overall hockey. You could be slow and still be playing smart style hockey, and he's not even doing that.
Puck protection that we talked about on the post-game show, he's not even doing that. And again, everyone that's upset with this Four Nations things, you guys, like, again, tell me if you're new hockey fans, if you're not, but like, it's best on best. Matthew Tkachuk is going to be there every Olympics and every Four Nations World Cup, whatever you want to call it. So, like, get that out of your mind. He's not going to sit those out. He's going to maybe be captain for some of those. So he's going to be playing in those. So that's just the reality of it, and you got to get used to it. Like, we did this whole Four Nations thing this year.
Mitch Marneau played. You can't give excuses. Mitch Marneau
Austin Matthews played.
Austin Matthews played. I mean, Sam Bennett played. Marchand played. I mean, come on.
Was banged up this year.
Yeah. So I mean,
you're not going to stop Matthew Tkachuk from representing his country. So fans that are worried about that or think that's going to be a problem moving forward, then I guess it is. Matthew Tkachuk's got to get his body in better shape, have a healthy offseason.
Nylander played. Great point. Yeah.
So, work on your skating, Matthew.
Yeah.
Like, you're the second slowest guy by metrics or whatever in the NHL. You're 25, 26 years old. Don't be skating like you got a piano on your back. You're 35. Improve your skating in the offseason. Right? The best players in the game, Sidney Crosby every year works on one thing every year to bring back every year. If I'm Matthew Tkachuk, I'm working with Ivan. I'm working with all those guys and getting my skating better. Because you're starting to see it's catching up to you in your mid-20s. Wait till you're in your late 20s or early 30s. And see.
I'm not trying to throw shade at Tkachuk, but maybe he's just.
Well, I'm just spitting facts. I'm spitting facts.
Maybe he should spend less time going on podcasts and work on his game.
No. You guys said that was good for the brand hockey. You can't flip it the other way. Nope. Nope. You guys said it was good.
So you're right. You're right.
He wants to do that. I'm not telling him to stop doing that. He was doing it last year, Caesar, when we were winning. Continue to do that stuff. I'm not using that as an excuse. No,
you're right. You're right. You're absolutely 100%.
I'm not.
Right.
I'll push back on that.
No. Here's another one by Roy Anderson. Can the Leafs sweep?
Is he a Leaf?
Well,
I saw the 2003 Anaheim Mighty Ducks sweep the Detroit Red Wings, who everyone was crowning as champions. So is it possible? Anyone could sweep anyone, sure. But also John Sebastian Giguère gave a legendary performance in that. Short of Nylander and Nyes, I wouldn't call it legendary performances, but I would call it elite. But I don't see any Leaf player out there giving us a legendary performance right now.
No, for sure. Let me see here. Let's see what else we got here.
Yeah, we'll go another 5 minutes here. We're getting all the Leaf fans going.
Hey, it's all good. We love it. We love it.
I throw up wins or losses, win or lose, so it's fine.
We're definitely here for you guys too. So even though we're Cats fans,
there's been some respectful Leaf fans in here.
But real quick, I thought the big key today, and you and I kind of talked about it too. We were a little bit worried about one guy, and I'll I'll play this clip here for a bit. All right.
I said, maybe you're going to be the one that saves me. 'Cause after all, you're my Joseph Wall.
This guy's
Hey,
deep in the message.
you knew a
boards.
lap.
All right, time for a lap.
Oh, yeah. I don't even care. That was,
You ruined a perfectly good song. Karaoke.
that's how good I'm feeling about that game coming
See, this is the opposite.
I don't think I.
Joseph Wall.
That's the opposite of what I'm talking about. Celebrating before you win. See how he contradicts himself of being so zen and then he does stuff like that. But someone I talked about, Joseph Wall. Joseph Wall to me is the best backup goalie in the NHL, and he's not.
And you have not been
he's not
saying
even a
this.
backup.
We've been saying it in spaces for the last few months.
Yeah, but
that
the Stolars fans didn't want to hear it. But
I mean, if there's anybody that I'm more worried about,
everyone's sending me DMs that's saying that Wall can't get it done like Stolars. You look kind of
and
bad.
let's go back to that play where Sam Eskevich almost scores. I don't think Stolars makes that save
because we're moving them east to west there, and Stolars is going to move from left to right, right to left. I don't think he makes those saves against us.
No,
I really don't. I think where they're missing Stolars right now is Wall's been very sketchy behind the net on moving the puck. Stolars is a great puck handling goalie, but Wall's been sucking up the rebounds. He's coming up with clutch saves. Again, you can't judge him on last game when he comes in net in relief of Stars. Like, oh, he should have had the Belinka shot. I'd like to see what you'd like to come in off the bench cold and how you look, right? So I think the Toronto media was getting on Wall because they wanted one or two of those saves back, but I don't think they were being fair to him there, coming in cold, because he didn't think Stolars was leaving that game. Stolars was laughing at him and laughing with him on the bench. So he's like, oh, you're all right. And then a couple minutes later, he's chucking his guts out. And he's like, oh, shit, I got in the net. And today, Toronto had Matt Murray on the bench, which I'm not a Matt Murray guy, but they had him on the bench for, I think, leadership and veteran things, because they're like, if Wall gets pulled here, we're losing the game. So Wall's got to give us a good game here. Instead, they didn't go with the young Hildeby because they're about 4 goalies deep, like 4 or 5 goalies deep. So they didn't go with the youngster behind Wall. They went with the veteran. And I think that might have given him some confidence. Matt Murray, former Stanley Cup winner. See, all he's doing is wearing a ball cap sitting on the bench.
Right.
So I think he probably calmed, maybe settled some Wall's nerves and things like that. But Wall, heck of a game by him, made the saves when he had to. I'm not going to blame either goalie in this one. There's always a play or a save that you might want to have back, but that wasn't a determining factor in the game. But Wall making that save at the end and a couple of those saves, that saved the game from going to overtime.
And you can contradict yourself too and say maybe Stolars makes the saves on the first 2 goals. Maybe. We don't know. But I personally, I think Wall is a better goaltender, ability-wise. And he has the ability to let less rebounds, collect the puck and not create any rebounds. And that's
you're going to have to find different ways of beating him. Where Stolars, they were really focused on how to beat him, I think. Now you got to look at your game plan here. The Panthers goaltending department, because they scout for the other goalies, they got to put in a lot of work here over the next 24, 48 hours, how to beat Joseph Wall, because they weren't preparing for him in this series. They probably had an eye to him because they have alternated this year, but the way that Stolars did play against Ottawa was good, was solid, wherever you want to put it, above average. I'll start to push back on that. I don't think Ottawa really challenged them, but they were running with Stolars until otherwise. Yeah. Now that stops dead in the tracks with this concussion and whatever comes of this, and Wall's in net. So now the Panthers have to regroup and say, how are we going to get to him? So
exactly.
It'll be interesting to see here.
And, we hope that he does have a speedy recovery. We do like Stolars. He was part of our championship team last year. And I don't want to bring this up, I don't think Bennett really intended for that hit to happen. But we won't bring that up.
Yeah,
here.
We're not going to go into all that after. We got to see a hockey game tonight. We're not talking about all the extracurricular activities. Obviously, the play with Erod there, that was a joke. But
yeah, but hey, we live on. We play another game. We go to game 3 here in South Florida. We need all our Florida fans to come out cheering. We need the place to be loud.
Steve, are you going to be there?
I will be there for game 3.
There we go.
I might not be there for game 4. It's still
you
up in the air.
We heard on our post-game show, you got to hook up with Brooks Koepka and maybe do another video to Biz Nasty there. Say, hey, what's the bet here, Biz? And he better give you odds right now, too.
Hey, he hasn't. I've been calling him out. I'm down 2. I'm down 2 in this series. He hasn't said anything on the wager. So, Biz, I'm telling you on camera right now here on the Cats and Rats podcast. What's the bet? Are you two chicken shit? Let's go.
There we go. Laid down, right? Cody wasn't here tonight, traveling stuff. I don't know where Nick is. Hope Nick's all right and everything. I haven't heard from him. Send out an SOS, but yeah, we were expecting Nick to be here. Game 4, we might have some guests. I don't want to say who and yet, but we might have some people from the community drop by here. That will be fun and interesting. I should be here for that one. I will see. I do have a crazy Saturday. And again, I'm hosting over on Twitter X, everyone. So if you don't catch me here, I'm over on Twitter X right after the end of the game. So I'm there hosting. I appreciate Caesar you dropping by today, helping me because a lot of our co-hosts were quite busy tonight with watch parties and other things like that. So other than that, Caesar, anything else?
No. Anything else, guys? Any questions here that we might want to ask before we get out? Real quick, what do you think? What do you think is the key for the game on Friday, Kirby? Before we let you go,
One key.
What are your 3 key factors for
Okay.
Florida?
I got to think about this sometimes, but I did like our neutral zone play to start. Everyone can disagree with me, but I like how we came out. I like how we started. That was one of my keys tonight. Number one, like play mistake-free hockey. Like you don't have to play perfect hockey, but like we got to cut down on the mistakes, whether that's a pinch, whether that's a turnover, whether that's a guy not knowing when to get on the ice after a line change, taking a bad penalty, like cut down on just the mistakes and you'll be fine. Number 2, I'll add it in there. I didn't have a big problem with his game tonight, but everyone's getting on him right now. When they get on him and when people doubt him, that's when he plays his best. Let's try to get a Bob game here. Shutout maybe. 1 goal allowed, something like that. That just puts all the negative chatter to the side that Bob's a problem. Oh, Bob's getting older. Oh, I don't know if Bob has it anymore. Just do one of that to silence our own fan base.
Yeah.
Number 3, second line production, like 5-on-5. Like, where is it? Where is the push? Like, this is a line that I said was going to dictate this series. I had Matthew Tkachuk as my number 1 player. I had Sam Bennett as honorable mention, and I think Cody had Mackey as his X factor. So if he's on that second line, that might create a little juice. And that's going to get the crowd going. Like people love when Mackey's rolling down that wing, creating some burst, creating energy there. Like that's what South Florida likes. They like exciting hockey players. And that's what Mackey Samoskevich is. So Mackey can create some injection into that line. But that line's got to bring it. Be heavy. Like make Toronto turn the puck over. Like get chances even if you don't score. Just create havoc out there. Not just Matthew Tkachuk after the whistle trying to grab a guy or stick at the goalie. Create havoc within the whistles and from puck drop out, right? So I want to see a little bit more ferocity and intensity from start to end. And like you can't level off here because Toronto is not going away. They're not going to go away. You got to keep that momentum going. I like the first period again. Don't kill your momentum with the penalties and everything like that. And hopefully that'll carry through to the rest of the game. You're not going to play a perfect 60. Like no team really does right now in this NHL. But play a clean game, mistake-free. If Toronto's going to take it, make them earn it and make it on their behalf. I think they can, but make them do it. Make them go 200 feet to make a nice play. Don't give them half the ice to make a play because they will. And they'll finish, they'll bury it, right?
And they show that they can capitalize on their chances. So,
oh, yeah. This is not the old Leafs.
No, it's definitely not. So, well, thanks a lot, Kirby. And thank you guys in the chat. We really appreciate you. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. We'll be back here Friday night. Hopefully you'll be here, Kirby. That's up in the air. But if not, we'll have somebody else with me. Until then, we're going to play this video here. And shout out to our sponsors, right, Kirby? Jeremy Beckham.
Yeah, Jeremy Beckham at BeckSellsFLA.com. Looking to buy or sell, hit up Jeremy Beckham at BeckSellsFLA.com. And Caneswear, visit them locally in Davie or visit them online at Panthers Wear. Again, that's Panthers Wear, WEAR.com for all your Panthers needs. And they also have some Mother Day sales going on this weekend with the other South Florida teams. So make sure to check that out.
Thank you, guys. Until next time, let's go, Cats.
Jump up, baby. Hey, you do swaggy. Come on, me. Ooh. Come on, my finish. Phenom, let's go, baby. Oh! Bravo! Oh my God, Lucy, so hot! So hot! What a play, 6-3.
What's up, Cats and Rats fans? If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button before you head out. If you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. And just like always, let's go Cats!